when explosions ripple across the night sky of Moscow and burning oil depots light up the horizon hundreds of kilometers from the front line, the world stops and watches. For the first time since the Cold War, Russian cities, once considered untouchable, are under attack. The culprits? Not squadrons of jets, not ballistic missiles, but tiny, inexpensive machines, drones. In the past few months, Ukraine has launched what analysts describe as the most extensive long-range drone campaign in modern history. A wave of strikes deep inside Russian territory that has startled military planners around the globe. But this story isn't just about explosions. It's about how modern war is changing, how technology is rewriting strategy, and how both sides are adapting to survive. Today, we'll break down what really happened, how Ukraine pulled it off, and what this means for the balance of power, not just in Eastern Europe, but for the entire world. To understand why these drone attacks matter, we have to go back to February 2022, when Russian troops surged across Ukraine's borders in what the Kremlin called a special military operation. That invasion began one of the largest land wars in Europe since 1945. By late 2023, Ukraine had retaken parts of Kyiv and Kherson, but was still struggling in the east. Russia's air force dominated the skies. Cruise missiles rained on cities like Kyiv, Odessa, and Lviv. Ukraine needed a way to hit back, a way to strike beyond the front line, to remind Russians that the war they started could reach their own doorsteps. That's when drones became the weapon of choice. In early 2024, Ukrainian engineers, some working in secret workshops, others in repurposed garages, started building long-range drones capable of flying 800 to 1,000 kilometers. They used commercial parts from China, navigation chips from Taiwan, and warheads modified from old Soviet munitions. A new phase of warfare had begun. Ukraine's drone offensive. On a quiet spring night in 2025, dozens, possibly hundreds, of Ukrainian drones lifted off from multiple locations. Their targets: oil depots, military factories, and logistics centers in Belgorod, Bryansk, Tula, Ryazan, and even Moscow's industrial suburbs. Russian state media first dismissed the explosions as accidents, but satellite imagery later showed fires stretching for kilometers. Analysts from open-source groups like Bellingcat confirmed at least 20 distinct impact sites inside Russian territory within a single night. These weren't random strikes. They were precision-planned raids aimed at disrupting Russia's fuel supplies for the war. One of the largest hits, a refinery in Ryazan, burned for more than 24 hours, cutting output by nearly 10%. Ukrainian officials didn't publicly claim responsibility, but President Volodymyr Zelensky hinted in an address, "When war comes to your home, you begin to understand why peace is priceless." Behind the scenes, Western intelligence quietly confirmed most of the drones were Ukrainian-made Bober and UJ-22 models, with some new prototypes capable of carrying 75-kilogram warheads. In purely tactical terms, the damage was limited. In symbolic terms, it was enormous. Russia's reaction was swift. Moscow deployed new Pantsir S-1 air defense systems on skyscraper rooftops and near oil facilities. Videos posted by residents showed anti-aircraft tracers crisscrossing the night. The Russian Ministry of Defense claimed it had intercepted 90% of the drones, though open-source verification suggests far fewer, perhaps 50 to 60%. In retaliation, Russia launched another wave of missile and glide bomb attacks across Ukraine's energy grid, knocking out power in multiple regions. For the Kremlin, these drone attacks were framed as terrorism. For Kyiv, they were a message: you can't bomb our cities and expect silence. Ukraine's defense industry has transformed dramatically. Before the invasion, the country relied mostly on imported weapons. By 2025, more than 200 domestic drone manufacturers were operating, some private, some government-backed. According to Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation, the country now produces tens of thousands of drones per month, ranging from tiny FPV kamikazes to long-range strategic models. Western countries, including the UK and the US, have provided funding and training, but avoid directly supplying long-range strike drones to prevent escalation. Instead, Ukrainian engineers have innovated on their own, using 3D printed parts, modular engines, and even AI-assisted flight software that allows drones to navigate when GPS is jammed. The cost efficiency is staggering. A long-range drone may cost just $20,000 compared to a $1 million cruise missile. In a war of attrition, numbers like these matter more than ever. But these attacks aren't just military, they're political signals. Ukraine wants to show it can strike deep inside Russia without NATO troops. Russia, in turn, wants to show that such strikes don't scare it. Every drone that crosses the border carries a message to multiple audiences. To Moscow, we can reach you. To Kyiv's people, we are not helpless. To Washington and Brussels, keep supporting us. We can make progress. This signaling war runs parallel to the one on the battlefield, and it's reshaping how global powers think about deterrence. And NATO officials publicly tread carefully. Privately, many see Ukraine's drone program as proof of innovation under pressure. In early 2025, leaked documents from the EU Defense Council showed concern about escalation, particularly if Ukrainian drones hit civilian areas inside Russia. Meanwhile, China called for restraint. Turkey, whose Bayraktar drones once symbolized early Ukrainian success, has since reduced public involvement, focusing on neutrality. The United States faces a delicate balance. Washington continues to supply air defense systems and financial aid, but it does not officially endorse Ukrainian strikes beyond internationally recognized borders. Still, American analysts note that these attacks are forcing Russia to divert air defenses away from the front line, which indirectly helps Ukrainian troops. Within Russia, public opinion is divided. State media minimizes the strikes, yet social media is flooded with clips of fireballs over refineries. A growing unease is visible among urban Russians who once felt insulated from the war. Insurance claims for industrial damages have risen, and flight diversions from Moscow airports have become more frequent. The Russian economy, while resilient, faces new strains. Oil exports dropped 6% in Q2 2025, partly due to damaged refineries and logistical rerouting. These numbers might not collapse the system, but they reveal cracks in what was once portrayed as unshakable stability. What's unfolding in Ukraine isn't just another war. It's the prototype of future conflict, where AI, automation, and cheap hardware redefine power. In 2022, global militaries spent about $14 billion on drones. By 2025, that number has nearly tripled. These machines blur the line between soldier and software. They reduce risk to human pilots, but also make escalation easier. If you can strike without sending a man into harm's way, what stops you from striking again? That's the moral question hanging over drone warfare. Ukraine's strikes might feel justified under invasion, yet the precedent they set could shape future wars from the Middle East to the Pacific. The fires in Moscow's industrial belt eventually burned out. Cleanup crews restored power, but the message lingers in the air like smoke. War no longer respects distance. What began as a border conflict has become a laboratory for 21st century warfare, one where code, cameras, and remote pilots hold as much power as tanks or jets. And as Ukraine and Russia trade drone for drone, the rest of the world watches closely, taking notes, building prototypes, preparing for a future where every war begins not with the sound of boots, but with the quiet hum of a machine taking flight. This isn't just Ukraine's story anymore. It's everyone's warning. If you like this video, please subscribe and share this video, and comment your thoughts below. God bless you all. God bless America. This is Robert signing off.